You're looking at 9 children that nobody wanted. This is Susan, Mary Jane, John, Sarah, Michael, Edith, Amanda, Margaret, and Charlie. Nobody wanted them except Kurt and Julie Lurkey, who live in a small town in New Jersey. The Lurkeys legally adopted all of them and took them into their home. What is your name, please?
My name is Julie Lurkey.
My name is Julie Lurkey.
My name is Julie Lurkey.
Only one of these ladies is the real Julie Lurkey. The other 2 are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Orson Bean, Kitty Carlisle, plus 100 members of our studio audience on To Tell the Truth. And now, here's our host on To Tell the Truth, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Good evening, panel. Good evening. Orson, nice to have you back with us on Nighttime Truth.
Thank you, Bud.
Even if we do have to share you with Melina McCoury in Ilya, Darling, which just opened on Broadway.
Yes, I play Melina McCoury's mother. It's a character.
Well, whatever it is, we hope it runs forever.
Thank you, Bud.
On the daytime version of To Tell the Truth, we've been instituting with our studio audience a chance to vote along with our panel. So it's been so successful that tonight we thought we would give 100 members of this studio audience a chance to vote electronically each time we play a game on To Tell the Truth. So audience, stay alert and get those voting buttons ready and locate where they are. Panel, please open your envelope, if you will, that first one, and follow along with me on this wonderful story. I, Julie Lurkey, am a mother of 9 adopted children. These 9 are of every race and color. They have only one thing in common. Nobody wanted them. Before Mary Jane came to us, she had spent 5 years in 17 different foster homes. At the age of 5, Sarah watched communist soldiers shoot both her parents. We adopted Margaret and Charlie at the same time. When Charlie was flown to us from Korea, he was in pitiful condition. Margaret was in no better shape. At 7 months of age, she weighed 5 pounds. My husband and I are not foster parents. All the children have been legally adopted and use the Lurkey family name. We are not part of a project. We are simply a family who loves children. As a matter of fact, before we adopted any children, we already had 2 of our own. Signed, Julie Lurkey. Now, panel, these 3 ladies all claim to be Julie Lurkey. Only one can be. Let's find out who it is. Will you start the questioning with Kitty Carlisle? Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. All you ladies look so happy that this must be the best thing for anybody to do. Number 3, how did you find all these children, and how long a period, over which period did you adopt them all?
About within 4 years' time.
4 years. Number 2, how do you manage the baths in the morning?
We have a schedule.
Is it posted on a bulletin board?
Yes, it is posted.
And they all observe it?
They have to. We can get 2 in a tub at once.
Number 1, how do you manage schools? Do they all go to the same school?
Oh, no, they go to 3 different schools. They go on the bus.
And they all go on the bus. Number 3, when you adopted the foreign children, what agency did you use?
Pearl Buck's Welcome House.
I didn't hear you.
Pearl Buck's Welcome House.
Thank you.
Tom Poston.
Pearl Buck's Welcome House. I've heard of that. It's obviously a great institution. Hello, sweetheart. I think this is the nicest thing. Number 2, which one is Margaret again?
Margaret, kick your foot so he'll know which one you are.
Thank you. She's adorable. I'm glad the fella didn't. Do the children help a lot, number 3?
Pardon me?
Do the children help each other? Do they?
Oh, yes, they do.
Number 1, how do you cut down on grocery bills? It must be...
We grow some of our vegetables. We have a backyard, which we grow some of them.
Do you? Number 2, do you have a backyard that you...
We sure do. We live on a farm.
Oh, it's better and better.
Peggy Cass.
Number 3, have you got a washing machine? Yes, I have.
Number one, how do the children get along together since they all just met one another within the last 4 years?
Well, you know, it's a strange thing, but they all seem to love each other. I don't know, each one seems to be proud of the other when they come in and they just try to outdo themselves. It's just hard to explain, really.
Thank you. Number two, how did your children feel? You must have discussed it with your own two children before you adopted the others. How did they feel about the invasion?
I don't think they considered it an invasion at all.
Well, I don't mean invasion that way, but I mean...
They were very, very happy about it. They were in on this. We didn't do it without their...
Oh, I figured probably you did. I would have been thrilled to have 9 new brothers and sisters already made.
Orson B.
I'm sorry, Kitty, I dropped my pen.
Where are you going?
Mercy. Number 2, is your husband here in the studio?
Yes, my
Is
husband.
he sitting out there? Watching? I can't tell who he is. I'm just looking for a proud man. That's
He's
all.
he's here in the studio,
Is he?
yes.
Number 1, what does your husband do for a living? How does he make enough money to keep this lot in underwear here?
Well, he's an engineer, but I studied home economics, so I try to work the budget out the best we can.
Yeah.
He does the engineering.
Number 3. Oh, I see. Number 3, can 9 live as cheaply as 2, or how much more
No,
does
they
it...
can't.
When are you going to stop? How many more kids are you going to add?
I don't
That's
really know.
all the time we have. I'm sorry to say, but it's time for you to adopt a few ballots here and mark them. Mark your ballots right now, if you please, and vote without consultation, without change. The team of challengers will, of course, receive $250 for each and every incorrect vote. While you're voting, it's time for our studio audience to vote. On the voting machines in front of each of you, audience, you will find 3 buttons. And when I say the word vote, please select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Are you ready? Vote. Your votes have been registered. Now let's see how our panel voted. Tom, for whom did you vote?
But I found this extremely difficult for a number of reasons. First of all, I have to hope I'm wrong so that she gets the money, right? But I also found it difficult because of all of the contestants we've had, I've never seen 3 that seemed more likely to be the kind, loving, wonderful mother that this woman must have been. I voted for number 1.
Peggy.
Well, I couldn't vote for number 1 because even if she's from southern New Jersey, it isn't that southern, and she's a very good mother. I voted for number 3 because she seems very quiet and direct, and so if she wanted to do this, she'd do it and do it well.
Orson.
I voted for number 2 because it seems to me that when they make the movie about this, that's who will play her own part.
Kitty.
I voted for number 3. They all look terribly happy, as I said before, and this must be a very rewarding thing to do. But I used to live in New Jersey, and number 3 looks like some of my neighbors.
All right, now let's find out who got the most votes from our studio audience. Our audience voted for number 2. Number 2, the audience voted, the greatest number all voted for. Now, before we ask the real Mrs. Lurkey to stand up, let's meet Mr. Lurkey and his oldest son, Todd. And now, will the real Mrs. Lurkey please go up and join her family? With more pictures like that in the world, there'd be no trouble, would there? Really glorious.
A great-looking bunch.
Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My real name is Leela Mae Vickery, and I'm a home economics teacher.
And number 2, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Ruby Rhodes, and I work for the Fleming Revell Company, publishers of Bud Collier's book, With the Whole Heart.
Well, in checking the score, let me see. There were 2 incorrect votes plus an audience incorrect vote for a total of $250 each of $750. And Mr. and Mrs. Lurkey, if you can hear me talking through my back like this, it's not being rude. It's been a real inspiration meeting you and your glorious family. And as an expression of our appreciation, we would like each of your children to accept, from To Tell the Truth, a United States government savings bond?
Thank you all for being with us tonight. Good night, and God bless you.
We'll meet our next team of challengers in just a minute, right after this message.
And now let's meet our next team of challengers. What is your name, please?
My name is Maria Remenyi. My name is Maria Remenyi. My name is Maria Remenyi.
Follow along with your copies of this one, if you will, panel. I, Maria Remenyi, was 11 years old when my father became involved in the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Immediately following the Budapest uprising, my family and I escaped and came to the United States. I did not speak a word of English when I first arrived here. However, by the time I went to college, I had mastered the language well enough to maintain a B-plus average and hold down a $150 a week job at a radiation laboratory. While still in college, I entered a beauty contest. Much to my surprise, I went on to become Miss California. Eventually, I was chosen Miss USA and proudly represented my adopted country in the last Miss Universe contest. Signed, Maria Remenyi. Very well, panel. These three lovely young ladies all claim to be Maria Remenyi. We'll start with Orson Bean.
It seems like all Hungarian girls are beautiful. Isn't that something? Number two, who was Zsa Zsa Gabor's mama?
I know her sister Riva. I've forgotten her mother's name.
Magda, isn't it?
No, that's
Martha.
Oh, Jolie, excuse me. Mercy. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Number three, you were 11 years old. Do you remember anything about the Hungarian Revolution?
Well, I wasn't directly involved, but I did this quite a lot.
Yeah, how did you escape?
Well, we took most of our important things and we just took our legs and went.
Yeah, all right. Number one, whereabouts in California is the La Brea Tar Pits? What a shame I didn't get a chance to finish that question.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number one, where did you live in Hungary?
In Budapest.
Number two, is it true that the Danube cuts Budapest in two?
That's right.
What's it called on one side and what on the other?
Well, one side is on a hill and the other side is more flat.
And which is Buda and which is Pest?
Well, you know, I was 11 years old when I left, so I don't remember too much about it.
Number three, where do they hold the Miss Universe contest?
In Miami Beach.
And what was your specialty? Do you have to do something there?
Yes.
What did you do?
Well, I was photogenic.
Tom Poston.
Did what, number three, please?
Pardon me?
You were photogenic. Oh, Miss Photogenic.
Yes, I
know
was
what you mean.
chosen to be the photogenic.
Thank you. Number one, what are now, Hungarians are notoriously beautiful, right? Girls especially. What are the racial strains that make up an average Hungarian?
I don't know.
I mean, what gives, number two, what gives the Hungarian the high cheekbones? Do you know?
Well, it's a Slavic influx, and usually they are blonde.
Ah, yes. and beautiful. Number three, well, what part do the Magyars play in the Hungarian background?
Peggy Cat.
Thank you. Number three, I know that you took your legs and went off, but how many were in the escape of your family?
Well, I traveled with my parents and with my sister.
There were four.
Yes.
And number one, where did you cross the border?
From Hungary to Austria.
And were there any? Were there border guards?
There were, of course, heavy guards, but we didn't meet any.
You didn't meet any?
No.
Well, number two, did you make your escape at night or in the daytime? I mean, when you went over the border.
At night.
Thank you.
That's it. Time for you now to mark your ballots, so please mark them as quickly and as well as you can, without change and without any consultation. While you're voting, of course, we'll have our audience vote again. When I say vote as before, select number one, number two, or number three. Are you ready, audience? Vote! So, your votes have been registered. Now let's see how our panel voted. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for that pretty lady number 1. They could have all done it as far as I was concerned, but she certainly had a good command of the language.
Peggy.
Well, I voted for number 1. And I think the reason they've got her in a suit is that if they put her in a bathing suit, we'd all drop dead. She'd be so great.
Orson.
Well, any of them could have been. They're all perfectly beautiful, but I voted for number 2 because she looks Hungarian to me, and she sounds a little like Mickey Hargitay or something.
Kitty Carlisle.
I voted for number 1 because she has very good English, and also her posture is magnificent, even sitting down.
Very well, there we have it. Now let's find out who got the most votes from our studio audience. Our audience voted for number 1. So let's find out which of these 3 young ladies in truth is Maria Remenyi. Will the real Maria Remenyi please stand up? Well, you didn't fool our studio audience. Thank you very much. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Giselle Brandley, and I'm getting married this Saturday.
That's the right answer to what you really do, or what you really will do. Much happiness to you.
Thank you.
Number 3, what is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Helena Ronay, and I am a student at Queen's College. I'm a sophomore.
Thank you. Well, in checking the score, there were no incorrect votes from our studio audience, and there were just 1 incorrect vote from our panel, but that's worth $250, ladies, and we thank you very much for gracing our show so very prettily. Good night, and God bless. We'll be back with our next team and play another game in just a minute, but now listen to this. Now let's meet our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is John Thomas. My name is John Thomas. My name is John Thomas.
Follow along once more, will you, panel? I, John Thomas, am a world champion high jumper. I was the first athlete ever to jump over 7 feet indoors and was a member of 2 United States Olympic teams. Even though I jumped high enough to win any previous Olympic Games, I was beaten by Russia's Valery Brumel. Despite our rivalry, Valery and I became very good friends. Such good friends, in fact, that he invited me to visit him and his family in Moscow. I accepted and had a wonderful time. I was astounded, however, at the way the top Russian athletes live. For instance, Valery's education is entirely paid for. The government provides a nurse for his young son and an American car for his use. Furthermore, all Soviet track stars train at state expense at an elegant resort on the Black Sea. Hopefully, I will compete against Valery Brumel in the 1968 Olympics, where our friendship will have to be temporarily suspended. Signed, John Thomas. So, panel, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be John Thomas, high jumper extraordinary. We'll start the cross-examination with Peggy Cass. Peggy?
Thank you. John Thomas, number 3, are you still in school?
Personally?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Did you go to college?
Excuse me?
Did you go to college?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
Boston U.
And who paid for it?
College, of course.
College
I was
paid?
on a scholarship.
Oh, you were on a scholarship.
Scholarship.
Well, number 1, do you think it's wrong for the Soviet Union to give him such good treatment, you know?
Well, I don't think it's wrong. He earns it by his competitive activities. I wish they did it here.
So do I think that that's a very well taken point. I don't see why we don't do it. Number 2, if you endorsed a tennis racket or a bar, you wouldn't be able to compete in the Olympics as an amateur, would you?
I'd no longer be an amateur because I'd be paid.
Thank you.
Orson Bean.
Number 1, I think that's a fantastic thing. What other kinds of people are kind of subsidized by the government? Do you know? Like I've heard that actors are top actors, are they?
Well, professional athletes. You mean over in the Soviet Union?
Athletes? Anything other than athletes?
Well, all the athletes in the Soviet Union are subsidized to an extent.
That's extraordinary. Number 3, Did you ever do that 7-foot high jump other than at that time? Did you ever do it in your warm-ups, in your practice?
Many times.
Many times. Number 2, have you ever gone higher since? Unofficially, say.
Higher than 7 feet?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
How high?
I guess as high as 7, 8 and a quarter.
7'8". My word. Without wind.
Kitty Carlisle.
And number one, do you use a pole when you do this? Is that right?
Tom said no. Tom said no, he uses a Hungarian.
One time she asked a boxing guy about the Louis Schmeling fight, and she whispered to me, who was Louis Schmeling?
Well, you do this all by yourself, then. It's remarkable. Number 2, do you know what a dasha is in Russia?
No, I don't.
Do you, number 3? May I? You wouldn't say?
I was going to say.
Tom Poston.
Thank you. Number 2, how were you ever hampered in your career?
I had an accident once.
And to what part of your body?
To my leg.
Thank you. Number 1, was Brummel ever hampered in his career?
Yes, he was.
How was he?
He injured his leg.
Thank you. Number 3, was the food good over there when you visited?
Fantastic.
It was really good?
Fantastic.
Well, number 2, is it good universally, or was it just for this top athlete, or?
I think it's good universally. I'm not sure, but it was good.
Number 1, did you eat out?
That's all we have time for. Time to mark your ballots, please. And put down the poll.
What I meant was in the home it might be great, but outside it might...
Yes, but there's no more time. So mark your ballots now, please, without consultation.
I'm excited.
And while you're voting, it's time again for our studio audience to vote. So please, again, when I say vote, select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Are you ready? Vote! So your votes have been registered. Let's find out how our panelists voted. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 3, Bud. He's a strong, sturdy guy, and I know that's a sport activity that takes tremendous strength and drive. I also voted for him because he looked like he was going to jump down when you said to come downstairs, so...
Peggy Cat.
Well, I voted for number 1 because he's nice and tall. And if you're going to have to jump 7 feet, it's good to be high up there to begin with.
Orson Bean.
I voted for number 3 because, I don't know, they used up all the good reasons.
Kitty Carlisle.
Well, I voted for number 1 because he's very tall, and as I found out, he did it all by himself. And also, I don't think the food's that good in Russia. And number 3, maybe for the athletes. But in general, I can't believe it's all that marvelous. And I didn't ask number 1, so I voted for number 1.
Very well, panel's votes are all in. Now let's find out who got the most votes from our studio audience. Our studio audience voted for number 1. Now let's find out which of these gentlemen in truth is John Thomas. Will the real John Thomas please stand up?
There you go.
Well, you didn't fool our studio audience, but nonetheless, it was good fun. You might try sneaking that pole in there. You may get even higher than... Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Arthur Bowers, and I'm a clerk for the Lewis Knizer law firm in the city.
Thank you. And number 3, what is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is Albie Grant, and I'm a guidance counselor at Rikers Island Prison.
Thank you. In checking the score, we find that there were 2 incorrect votes, and each one worth $250 for a total of $500. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us, and hope you had as good a time as you gave us. Good night. God bless you. To protect his amateur standing, John Thomas has asked that his share of the winnings be donated to the Amateur Athletic Union of the United States, and it shall be done. We'll be back in a minute, but now this important message. That's all we have time for tonight. Wish we had more. Good night to you, panel.
Good night.
Good night, Bud.
And you'll be with us next week at the same time, I trust. Of course, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon in the daytime show. But in the meantime, don't you forget to tell the truth. Bye.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. Joe Black. This is Johnny Olson speaking. For To Tell the Truth, tonight's program was pre-recorded.
Be sure to see the Red Skelton Hour with special guest Senator Everett Dirksen plus Fernando Lamas tomorrow night. Right now, stay tuned for Password Fun with Carol Burnett and Alan King. Next.
To Tell the Truth was brought to you tonight by Bristol Myers, makers of Bufferin for effective relief from headache pain. Bufferin.